Let's jump into the store's performance for August. We'll start with kind of an overall. I've been open for 3.5 months now, but this is the first 3 months. So June, July, and August. Sales minus taxes and fees, so my net sales, were $50,104.09. I don't know what that is. Average per month, divide that by 3. You can figure that out. But I feel like overall, doing pretty great so far. The majority of that, if we're breaking it down to 3 months, the majority of that came from August. August was a very good month for the store. It's weird too because I'm pretty sure I was closed for 4 days in August, which is typically not normal. Usually I'm closed for just 1 day out of the month, which is why I'm here tonight. There is an event that happens downtown Wake Forest that's called Friday Night on White, and I was told that I should probably be closed for those. And I have been closed for those. I've also talked to different police people that have come into the store and asked whether or not I should be closed during this time. And they said, you definitely should be. The last one of those is tonight. So going forward, I should have a full 20 days per month that I am open 5 days a week. But in August, I was gone for an entire weekend because I went to Charlotte. So 4 full days of that month, I was not open, and it still exceeded the prior 2 months. There were a couple of really big purchases that happened that were calculated to probably be about $5,000. We had the Cardinal Live crew came in, Chef and Pokemon Wonder, and Luke came by, and they bought a bunch of stuff for their stream. And then after I went out to Rusty's in Charlotte, TCA Gaming, him and his family came by the store a week or 2 later, and they actually bought a bunch of stuff as well. So there were 2 kind of anomalies in terms of sales that happened during that month. But even with that, I think it still outperformed the 2 prior months. So for August, the net sales just in August, so the sales minus taxes and fees, were $22,855.99. That is on 3 less days than the previous months. And I think June was our bigger month than July. And June was, I think, a $17,000 month. So overall, August was great. I think there are quite a few different reasons why it was so great. We'll keep going and then we'll talk about that stuff a little bit after. One thing that you guys know that I do at this point, if you guys have watched any videos in regards to the store, Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, consigns packs through the store, and I sell the packs in store, and then we split it 85-15. So he takes 85% of those sales. I take 15% of those sales. It's one of the things that people come in and are really wowed by. They come in and they're like, wow, you got a ton of packs. Like, this is awesome. I can't find these packs anywhere. You've got so much stuff from Sword and Shield. Like, how cool is that? So that has been very beneficial to the store overall, and hopefully very beneficial for Dan as well. Gross Dan pack sales, so all the sales that came from the packs that Dan provides, were $5,629.51. 85% of that, $4,719.65, which means the amount that I made off of that was $909.86. So I think the first month when I did the breakdown, Dan's packs alone, the consignment from Dan's packs alone, the amount that I got covers at least the rent for the place where I'm at, which is $850 a month. Again, this covers the rent plus my internet, not my insurance, but covers the majority of my overhead just by having those packs in consignment. So that's pretty awesome. It basically means that everything else, all you're subtracting from it is the cost of that good. You don't have to take into account any other overhead costs for that particular item because it's covered by Dan's consignment amount. So that's pretty great that is still doing so well. When you see cards pop off, like the Bubble Mew, like the 151 Charizard, people gravitate towards those packs where those cards are popping off because they want to try and, gamble and try and get that card, right? So I've been selling a lot of Paldean Fates recently because that Mew keeps going bonkers bananas. It's funny how people gravitate towards the things that are popping off. It makes sense, but there are definitely those people who are just chasing the biggest thing in the moment. But there are also a lot of those people who come in and they're trying to finish a set. So they'll buy more Journey Together. Or there's kids that come in and are like, oh, which one has the Charizard in it? And I try to pick like the cheap Charizard pack for the kid to open, like Obsidian Flames. It's been really fun seeing the different ways that people interact with pack opening and what they're chasing. A lot of people, more people than I would have thought, are doing master sets. I really thought that collecting was not necessarily about doing master sets, but it was more about you kind of choose a species of Pokemon, and a lot of times those popular species of Pokemon rise. I still think this is a majority of collecting, but there's a lot more master set collecting than I thought there would be. It's also fun for me as a person who is sourcing from people who come in with their collections, is that I know what my regulars are looking for. So I have a guy who right now is trying to complete all of the illustration rares from Black Bolt and White Flame. I think he has like 124 of the 156 illustration rares, and he literally sends me a list of here are the ones I'm looking for. And then when people come in, I'm like, yes, I will take that. Yes, I will take that. Yes, I will take that. And then I'll message him and be like, hey, I got more for you. And he'll come in and trade some stuff towards them. So there's that kind of regular owner relationship, growing, which I think is really cool. It's one of the things that I admire PokeChef as a streamer. He does this really well, where he is connected to his community, and his hospitality really comes out to try and make sure that he's getting the things that his community wants from him during his live streams. And that's something that I have been trying to do with people who come into the store, is I try to understand what they're looking for and then make sure that I have that. So the total sales minus the net damn pack sales is $18,136.34. So that is the amount that the store made minus taxes and fees, minus Dan's packs. So we talked a little bit about packs. I want to break down what the best selling packs of the month were. Black Bolt was the highest selling pack, sold 81 packs. Pokemon 151, again, one of the highest selling packs. Who would have guessed? We sold 80 packs of 151. White Flare coming up just short of Black Bolt at 73 packs. Prismatic Evolutions, people are really trying to get those evolutions. I don't know if anyone's pulled an evolution out of the packs that I've had, but Prismatic Evolutions at 65 packs. And then Destined Rivals, a set that basically every time someone comes in and is like, hey, I'm just getting back into it, I collected when I was a kid, what set do you think I should open now? I'll say 151, but then I'll say, that one's kind of expensive right now. Another set that I would recommend is Destined Rivals, and here's why. So Destined Rivals is really a set that I kind of market to people as being a good set. It's fairly inexpensive. It's usually between like $750 to $825, somewhere in that range. I really try to push that set because I think there's just so many cool cards, especially if you're a Gen 1 person. I think with the Mewtwo and the Moltres, and a lot of Gen 1 people blended into Gen 2, so you have the Typhlosion and the Houndoom and stuff like that as well. I think that set, if you're old like me or you collected way back in the day, I think that set really is going to appeal to a lot of those people, just like kind of 151 does. When Rusty was here, actually, TCA Gaming, when he was here and we opened packs, he pulled the Nidoking alternate art, the Rockets Nidoking with Giovanni. He pulled that alternate art. We had two crazy pulls recently in store on the same day. One guy came in and bought maybe a couple packs of Black Bolt. He pulled the card in his car, turned around, came back in, and it was the Zekrom EX Special Illustration Rare from Black Bolt. I think he drove that almost immediately to GameStop and had it shipped off for grading. I had this 13 to 15-year-old kid come in, and he bought one pack of White Flare. One pack of White Flare, and he opened it at the case, and he's going through, he gets to the reverse hollows, and then all of a sudden, he rips that reverse hollow off. The red Victini, man. He just pulled that thing off and it was all red. And he had no idea what he had just pulled. And I was freaking out on the other side. I was like, oh my God, dude, you pulled that's like the biggest hit. He's like, what do you mean? Like, how much is this? And I told him, I was like, it's like a $400 to $450 card. Like, it's crazy. So he runs out to grab his dad because his dad had stepped out of the store. He ran out to grab his dad. They came back in. He's like, I just pulled a $400 card. His dad looks at me and is like, really? I'm like, yeah, that's like $400. And his dad was like, you need to sell that. And he's like, I don't want to sell it. I just told him, if you want to sell it, come back to me. I'll buy it. But I'm not going to pressure you to sell it today because it was super sick. Like one pack, $7 pack, rips a $450 card. It was epic. So that leads us to distribution. I haven't gotten a lot from distribution, but I am in with 2 different distributors. I didn't really expect that I would get much, but then there was kind of some hope that I was kind of getting some stuff. One of the distributors that I'm in with has a brick and mortar only section that has like nothing in it ever. That has essentially been empty for the longest time now at that distributor. And in terms of Mega Evolution, I am getting some stuff, which is pretty awesome. I wasn't sure that I was really going to get anything. And at my other distributor, apparently so far, I'm not getting anything. But I am getting like 2 booster boxes and 3 of the Mega Latias collection boxes. That's it. I will at least have packs, hopefully on day 1 if I get my booster boxes. I assume that all of that is going to sell very quickly. It's going to be interesting. This will be my first release of like a lot of people kind of knowing that I carry Pokemon. So there was obviously Black Bolt and White Flare, but I was still fairly new at that point. And I'm still fairly new, but a lot more people who have become regulars and are coming back and are asking about Mega Evolution. So I wonder how that's going to look on the Friday that I'm going to be open and Mega Evolution officially releases. Am I going to have a line? Is there going to be a lot of people trying to get packs? Is there going to be a lot of people? Am I going to have to implement like some sort of limit? My initial thoughts is like 5 packs per person maybe or something like that. Like I don't want the limit to be too harsh, but I also don't want one person just coming in and clearing out all of my Mega, because I would like to have, some available for everyone that wants to come in on Friday and get some packs to rip the new set. So I have to figure out exactly how I want to do that. All right. So from distro in the month of August, I have been able to purchase, or I was able to purchase 10 Twilight Masquerade ETBs. So a case of Twilight Masquerade ETBs at $50 a piece. I was able to purchase 5 Surging Sparks booster bundles at $25 a piece. It looks like I was able to purchase 10 Destined Rivals booster bundles for $25 a piece, and I was able to purchase 12 prismatic poster collections. I think those were from Walmart, actually, like a Walmart online drop, for $22 a piece, I think. So most of the Twilight Masquerade ETBs have sold. I had a couple that showed up from distro with rips in them, so I sold those for a little bit cheaper. I sold one of those boxes for $60, and then I sold the rest of those boxes for $70, and I think I have like 3 left. For the month of August, I sold 6 of those boxes for a total of $410. I also had the 5 Surging Sparks booster bundles. So the booster bundles at the time were going for about $45. I purchased them for $25, and I was able to sell them for $45. They sold almost instantly. Total sales for those was $225. The 10 Destined Rivals booster bundles sold very quickly at $50 a piece. I was able to get them at $25. So that was $500 of total sales for those. And then the 12 Prismatic Poster Collection sold at $30 a piece, so that's $360 in total sales. So the calculated profit from distro for that month was $364, which isn't that bad, because I'm not really getting all that much. So it's just kind of like bonus. Now I would want to be able to purchase and have the ability to be able to purchase a lot more stuff from distro. Dang, that's all MSRP. Yeah, basically. A lot of the stuff I am buying at MSRP and have to sell close to market. It's interesting too, because I feel like back in 2020, stores that were selling things for market were the stores that were being shit on. I remember being very angry going into different stores and getting frustrated with stores selling boxes at market when things were crazy. It's crazy now because basically if you're selling at market, you have the good deals. That's what I'm learning, at least in my area. Maybe it's different in different areas, but a lot of people come in and see that I sell all the packs at market, I sell all the boxes at market, and they're like, wow, these prices are great. Like, they're actually reasonable, because they'll say, oh, that Twilight Masquerade, I've had so many people come in. There's another shop in the area that is selling Twilight Masquerade ETBs. They're $70 market right now, $65 to $70 market, because they just released a bunch more of them. Other stores in the area are selling them for $120, and I'm selling them for $70 market. So they come in and they see that and they're like, wow, the other store is selling them for $50 more than that. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. That's like twice market. That's like $50 over market. Like, that's wild. But I'm selling market, which I feel like in the past, market has been like, you're the scalper if you're selling at market. Now it's, you're the godsend if you're selling at market, and you're actually the scalper if you're selling 200% over market or 100% over market, because stores are actually doing that, which I haven't gotten to the point where I've needed to do that. I don't know if any store really needs to do that, given that they're probably getting those from distro at $50 a piece and trying to sell them for 120. I don't know. If they were 120, that's what I would be selling them at, but they're not. They're 70. That's my distro experience this month. Nothing super crazy like the first month where I bought all of those Final Fantasy Magic playmats and made a bunch of money off those. Just buying product when it's available and selling it for market and doing okay. You know, $364 profit is not great. It's a little bit of a bonus, but honestly, my store isn't focused around sealed product. A lot of the stores in the area are focused purely on sealed product and they don't do singles at all. I am more like the singles guy. Like, bring me your singles, sell me your singles. I want to sell you your singles. Singles are like the lifeblood of the store. I wouldn't even need distro probably, and I could still justify this being open. Distro is just kind of like a bonus right now, which is probably, if you're going to open a store in this environment, it's probably the way that you have to do it, is that distro is just like, oh, if I get anything, cool. And that's kind of like bonus for the month, but I'm not going to expect anything because you don't know if you're going to get anything. From my second distributor, I haven't gotten jack squat, absolutely nothing. I was allowed to pre-order items for, you know, Mega Evolution and the new Lorcana sets and like all this stuff. I haven't gotten anything. Nothing allocated to me. So I am in the distro, which is good. I have an account that is active. I have purchased a couple things from them, but I have not been granted any Pokemon stuff from that distro. I did an experiment. I made a reel on Instagram, a bit of a short. It's like a 50-second reel that explains a little bit about me, a little bit about the store, how to get to the store from where I put out the signs, stuff like that. I put that up on Instagram, and I was told by Benji, Community Cards, Massachusetts, I was told from him, like, hey, Instagram Reels, if you boost them, if you pay to boost them in the algorithm, you can be really specific on the interests that you want to match to people. You can be very specific on the location and the area that you want to match to people. And so that's what I did. Last month, I did the first week, I released that reel, and then I boosted it in the algorithm, and it was crazy. It did so well. I'm pretty sure that my following on Instagram went from 250 followers to like 460 followers. It nearly doubled the amount of followers I had on Instagram. And all of those people were local people who were watching Pokemon content or were searching for Pokemon card videos. I had a ton of people that week and the following week come in and say, I saw your video on Instagram. I saw that you were local. I had to come in. So I spent $50, $10 for 5 days. So basically you say how much you want to pay per day. I did $10 a day, $50 for the first week, and I more than justified the $50 amount. Like, that literally could be a thing that I just build into, you know, like, I have rent, I have utilities, I have cost of goods, and I have advertising. And that's just like a fixed cost, $50 a week that goes out on Instagram and just absolutely kills it for the store. That reel got 5,778 views in 5 days. If the video hits a viewer's eyeballs for any amount of time, that's what a view is. So that's 5,778 views. And then engagement is if the video plays for more than 3 or 4 seconds on Instagram. And that was 2,063 people watched the video for more than 3 seconds. That's pretty solid as well. I got 203 follows. So that brought my followers up from like 240 or 250 to 400 and something. And I did it for a second week. And now I'm up over 650. I think I'm like 670 followers or something like that on Instagram. So that's been fantastic. And like I said, you can target your audience by the locale or interest. So basically when I set it up, I said I want it to be Raleigh area, Durham area, Wake Forest area, Roseville area, like basically all the cities within like 20 minutes from me. Then I wanted it to be trading cards, Pokemon TCG, Pokemon, you know, TCG, just all of those different things as the interests. And then you boost it out to those people. And those people end up seeing it. My net sales for the week before running the ad were $4,171.49 from 94 transactions. The week prior to that, I think the sales were like $7,000 from, I'm not really sure how many transactions. The first week of running the ad though, I had over $9,000 in sales from 130 transactions. So I had nearly 40 more transactions and $5,000 more in sales the first week of running the Instagram ad in comparison to the week prior to running the Instagram ad. That Instagram ad brought a lot of people into the store, and they spent a lot of money. It's not one-to-one. Not all of those transactions. It could have just been a slow week the week before. Not all of those transactions are going to be people from Instagram. But I do think the amount of people that have come in and said, I saw your Instagram post, now I'm here, and people who have become regulars from saying, I saw your Instagram post, now I'm here, it's definitely justifying the cost so far. So last thing I wanted to mention about this is I am improving my tracking for future videos. So obviously you guys got to see a bigger picture of everything. You saw basically like net sales amounts, like full net sales amounts. But in the future, I have changed up the way that I am tracking things at the store, tracking purchases. So in the future, in future videos, you should be able to know how much of the sales were card accessories like sleeves, top loaders, how much of the sales were English sealed products, how much of the sales were plushies, how much of the sales were keychains, how much of the sales were Japanese packs, you know, all of that. You should be able to get a more further broken down, further granular numbers on a lot of this stuff that should be a lot more informative going forward.